Then this next one, I want to see this racist one because I'd like to do some input on this one. All right. All right, next question is, how long did it take getting used to having the cameras around?
So I was very shy when I was younger. Like I was terrified to speak in groups. Like if the teacher called on me in class, that was like a nightmare for me. I want to be honest, I started doing YouTube videos way before 90 Day Fiance. Now, before the 90 days was a rigorous casting. It was like, 6 to 8 months of going back and forth, but it was all done through video chat. Like, didn't like go anywhere in person. So it's like one-on-one. Like, it would be you on the computer with somebody in New York or LA or whatever, asking you questions, finding out about your story if it's something that, seems interesting or, whatever. But the day, I will admit, that they told me for like 2 weeks when they were coming to start filming, and we started in Charlotte. It was before I was going to Columbia, because obviously, we filmed like the going away party. Veronica threw for me when she gave me the engagement ring and all that stuff. And I'll never forget, like, hearing somebody like at my front door, and I opened up the door and there was 2 vans of just people pouring out in just mountains of lights and cameras, and like it looked like a band was about to perform, like all these hard road cases, and my heart was like like that's when it really hit me, like, holy shit, like this is a real TV show. They picked me, and I don't want to let them down. Like, that's when it really, everybody always asks me, like, when did it hit you that you were going to be on a big TV show? And that's when it hit me. And the first, like, 2 hours they were there, I'll never forget, the very first thing they asked me for when they got there, I couldn't provide them, because they wanted me to show, like, early messages from Jennifer and I. And the website we use automatically deleted messages after like 90 days. So they were like, hey, so can we see like the first couple of days of your conversation, like talk to the cameras about, like the first couple of days of, chatting, what it was like. And I didn't have it. So it just, everything was going wrong day one, and I was getting super nervous. But then after that, to be honest, cameras just don't really bother me. In fact, I'm almost surprised sometimes at how little effect people following me with cameras has on me. Like, I'm a very open book. I don't really have a part of my life that is off the table to talk about. So it just, I don't know, for me and my personality, it just never was a thing.
That's the cleaning poo there. These guys are looking beautiful, and I don't know what this guy's doing. Making TV.
Okay. All right. Next one is, what is it that you do for a living? I didn't understand it when you explained it on the quarantine show.
Well, so I'm a federally licensed gun dealer, okay? And I used to sell guns, which when I started my gun business, I was doing rare and exotic guns. So I was flying all over the United States to find like maybe a gun that they only made 100 of. And that market, it was more of an investor's market. And when Trump got elected, the gun market really shifted, because people were panic buying, thinking that, Hillary was a shoo-in. So everybody knew that she was super against guns, and she, was very involved in the high capacity magazine ban back in the 90s. And they were sure that she was gonna, do something to make it more difficult or impossible to buy certain firearms, so guns were selling like crazy. And when Trump got elected, the sales just plummeted, a lot of the prices plummeted, so I had to find some way I was going to go bankrupt. I mean, my business was failing. And I think the statistics were like 2 out of 5 gun dealers went under the first year Trump was elected. So I started watching YouTube videos and taught myself how to gold plate. doing electroplating, and I invested some money, bought some equipment, and then I started thinking, I'd like to do some engraving, and I started wanting to make art, because really true to my heart, I'm an artist. Like, I'm a musician. I love art, I just can't draw or paint. But guns to me is kind of like my canvas, and I like cool guns. Like, I'm a movie guy, so like the very first couple guns I ever bought were guns that I'd seen in action movies. So then I started kind of coming up with this whole Gringo Guns thing, which my ultimate dream was to build guns for movie villains and movie characters and things like that. We built some movie guns, but I do gold plating, I do engraving, I do blue nitrate, I do stainless polishing, nickel plating, rose gold, any precious metal, but we do mostly guns and gun parts, but I also do some jewelry, watches, etc.
Okay. Now here's a tough question.
Hit me with it.
Why are you so racist? You were disgusted when a black girl approached you for a blind date. I personally think that the racist part is hilarious.
Well, so that must have come off. I saw some things online when I was 24 years old. I wrote an article. At the time, I was a writer for a movie website that I actually owned. Large interest of. And I wrote an article about the early days of dating online, like. In 96, 97, you and I both had American Online, and there was, before Tinder and Bumble and all these, Match.com or whatever, this was before everybody had a smartphone with a camera, and then, if you were rich, you had a webcam, but even that, or you might have a scanner, so nobody had pictures. And it's funny to me that everybody, when you're on TV, everybody takes your words out of context, and it's very easy to say things in a way that offends people. But I wrote an article about my very first experience dating someone that I had met or going on a date with somebody that I had met online. And back then, you remember, you put A/S/L.
Age, sex, location.
Age, sex, location. Exactly. So, you would describe yourself, like, you'd be like, oh, I'm 6 feet tall, white male, or not even white, just 6 feet tall, 150 pounds, blue eyes, dark hair, whatever. And the girl, described herself, and we talked and talked and talked, and I just wasn't expecting her to be a black female. I just wasn't expecting it. Mm-hmm. There was nothing wrong with that, and I didn't say that. So, again, I wrote the article and I just put, my very first experience, that's what happened. I was like meeting the girl at like a Walmart parking lot, and I was looking for a white girl because I just had assumed it was. Now, if that's racist that I assumed a girl was white, I mean, again, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
So, obviously, for those of you that don't know, Dara sitting behind the camera is a black male. All of my girlfriends for the last 10 or 15 years have been foreigners. Veronica's Cuban, but she was born in America, but her grandparents and parents are from Cuba. I've been with Colombian girls, Honduran girls, I've gone on dates with black girls. It doesn't really matter to me. Color has never been an issue at all. And I think it's sad that people go back and try to manipulate something into what it's not. For one, I mean, I wrote that article in 2004, 2005. I was in a much different mindset. And the article wasn't written from a racist perspective. It was just written that, again, back in the day before technology, those were factors that, again, happen. Now, obviously, you get 50,000 photos of the person. Well, maybe, unless they're catfishing you. But back then, you just got a description. And that's all. The only point I was trying to make. So, no, I'm not a racist. I think it's funny that people say that.
All right, now, here's one you will enjoy. Top 3 90s movies, top 3 80s movies. It's gonna be a tough one.
Top 3 80s movies right off the bat: Aliens, Terminator, which are both James Cameron, and Rambo 2. Rambo First Blood Part 2 and Aliens were 2 VHS tapes that I had that for a year of my life, every day after school, I watched one or the other. Oddly enough, I found out much later in life that James Cameron directed Aliens, and James Cameron was a writer on Rambo First Blood Part 2.
See, I didn't know that.
And James Cameron directed Terminator, so clearly I'm a big James Cameron fan, but I'm really not. I just happen to like a lot of his movies, but it's not like one of those people that every time he does, like I'm not an Avatar fan.
Yeah,
at
I
all.
mean, the technology was great, but the story was overused.
Right.
And
Yeah. I mean, to me, he's done some good stuff. He's done some bad stuff. But now, 90s, I don't know. True Romance is one of my favorite movies of all time. Heat is one of my favorite movies of all time, which were both 90s. Man, I hate when people ask me favorite movies because I just feel like there's so many.
What's something you could throw in there?
Yeah, help me out. You
could
have very similar tastes.
You could say Terminator 2.
Terminator 2 is 1990 or 91, yeah. I mean, I've watched that movie. That actually, Terminator 2 was the first rated R movie that my mom ever took me to see because I begged her. We went to a drive-in in a small town called Belmont, North Carolina, to see that. But yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna go with those because we would sit here.
That was your first rated R movie?
Yeah, Terminator 2.
I believe. I
know you saw Terminator 1 in the theater.
Yeah, when I was a kid. Fucking 84. Front row seat.
Yeah, and Darius and I are a couple months apart in age, so we're both around 40. Yeah. So you were like 4 or 5 years old.
Front seat. And as soon as I saw Linda Hamilton's titties, I was like, titties! My brother was like, shh, be quiet.
You know what's funny? My older brother Shane rented Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and I'll never forget. There's a scene in that movie where the nurse gets on the bed with Joey
and
the tongues.
Yeah.
And my mom, I was watching. Obviously, I wasn't supposed to be watching it, and I was in the living room, and my mom walked in, of course, right during that scene, and she yelled at my older brother. But like that was like I think the first on-screen titties I ever remember seeing, and those were some nice. Those were some nice titties.
She was healthy.
Yeah, I don't remember who that girl was, but she had some nice titties. So that was my first titty experience, and that was probably when I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old. Yeah. So.
Let me see. Are you single?
Am I single? I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one. I'll say that I'm not saying, it's complicated. That part, even Facebook has an it's complicated part, but not married, not engaged, but not completely in the market either.
Okay. How are you today?
I'm a lot better today than I was a year ago. I was severely depressed after my last relationship ended, and that was probably the most depressed. Actually, all in the same, like within 2 months of each other. My girlfriend broke up with me that I was in love with. I lived with her. I had just sold my house, and we had gotten an apartment, so I was homeless, living in my office for 3 or 4 months, and then my office for that business, which I owned a car business, that business was failing. So I had a failing business, I was homeless, and I had my heart broken. Actually now, that's been over a year ago now. God, time really
that was like
almost 2 years ago.
That was before I started working.
Yeah, so today I'm much better than I was then, but just today as in general, I'm very happy because I'm always happy when I get to hang out with my best friend. We've been hanging out on the weekends since '97.
Yeah.
It's something I look forward to. I work all week, 15 to 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. So getting to come and hang out with him, even to do a video like this, we'll play some video games after this, and it's what I consider fun.
All right. You and Veronica seem perfect together. Why are you not still together?
I think the message that I get the most right now, because we've been on Pillow Talk a lot, is oh my God, you and Veronica are so perfect for each other. Oh my God, why don't you guys try to fix your relationship? And that's what people don't understand. How many couples can you look at on social media and they look perfect for each other? You know, what you see on TV and what you see in pictures, people only show the good stuff, and that's not to say that it's fake what you see with Veronica and I. We have a very good time as friends, but on a romantic scale, it's very difficult when you had a passionate relationship with someone. I think Veronica and I were both in love with each other at one point romantically, you know. When that stops and your love moves on to someone else, and then even maybe someone else after that, it's very difficult to look back, I think, and reimagine those feelings coming back. At least for me it is, and I think she feels the same way about it. Like, she's like, I always say, like my sister, like my friend, I mean, like family. You know, she is my family. And I don't, it's funny, like you know, Veronica can be, you know, like a million guys lined up saying how beautiful she is, and like, you know, looking at her in like a sexual way, and I just don't look at her like that anymore. I've even thought it was weird myself, because she's an attractive girl, you know, but I don't see her like that anymore. And I think what we have is perfect. So it's like, why mess that up? Because, you know, if you tried to date again and it didn't work, you might really ruin your friendship. And that's something too valuable for me to even risk, because I don't have many friends. I have a lot of acquaintances, but to find a really good, true friend, for me, it's not easy.
Okay. Why do you hold on to your past? Co-parenting is possible with space and healthy for you both.
There's always one or two jackasses. I guarantee you this question comes from somebody that was dating someone that was too attached to their ex, and it caused problems in the relationship and may have resulted in them getting their heart broken or hurt. When you get to be 40 years old, if you can't be mature enough to understand that you can be friends with an ex, whether it's co-parenting or not, like, even if Chloe didn't exist, I would still want to be friends with Veronica. And if you can't accept that, then you're just immature. I mean, there's no written law that says you can't be friends with an ex more than just a co-parent or a phone call. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, you know, if you do it in the bounds of respect with your current partner. I mean, obviously, I take measures with whoever I'm dating to make them feel more comfortable with it, you know, because I understand society deems it as strange. Veronica understands that too, but it's ridiculous that people take the time to write that to me. Like, they just think it's so wrong. You know, she's my friend. I know if something happened to me right now, I could pick up the phone and call her, and if you weren't available, she would be there. And I mean, why is it just because I used to date her that's wrong? I don't get it. And maybe I'm just looking at it very biased because I'm the one that's in it, but I think that's a ridiculous statement. That's all I really have to say about it.
Well, I've got another ridiculous one for you, but not yet.
Okay. I'm sure there's many.
Well, I just came up on this one. But this one is, do you regret doing 90 Day Fiance?
No, I don't regret doing it. I mean, obviously there was a few factors that came out of it that I did not anticipate, such as he's gay, he doesn't have a penis, he was born a woman, he's transgender, you know, all of these weird accusations that people came up with just because, I've said it before, I think to a lot of people, seeing a man that wasn't foaming at the mouth to have sex with a beautiful girl was just weird to people. And, you know, people say, like, oh, he looks feminine, he's got narrow shoulders, like, they pick apart the way I look physically and try to compare it to a woman. I sit with my legs crossed, so that makes me too feminine. I like having clean nails. There's all these stigmatisms, like
because you're a guy, you need to be fucking dirty.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, people in their head have an idea of what a man should be like, and if you don't fit under that criteria, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And again, the biggest insult somebody can tell me is that I'm just like everybody else. I don't want to be like everybody else. I mean, I want to be unique. I want to be memorable. I want people to remember, you know, the guy they met named Tim, not that he's just like every other cookie cutter human being out there. So, you know, the insults don't really bother me. I could give two fucks less what a stranger that watches me on TV thinks about me personally. You know, my family and friends are the people that matter, and opinions matter to me, but what somebody watches on TV and picks apart just because they're miserable in their own life, I don't lose any sleep over it. Because that's really all it is. It's people that are fucking miserable in their own life, and they have to find somebody that they can deflect all that negativity on. And all the trolls online, or, you know, on Reddit and Facebook and Instagram, all the social media that just have nothing but negative shit to say constantly. Because I'm a nice guy. I'm a good boyfriend. I'm a nice guy. I've done nothing but treat the women you've seen me on TV with respect. I've done tons of charitable work and, you know, tried to help bullied children. Hello. How are you? Give me a hug. How are you? You're so pretty. Oh my God, you're gorgeous. No, don't cry. Come on. I'm so happy to be here. Come on, let's sit down. Let's sit down. No, you're gonna make me cry. I'm such a big fan of yours. Like, I'm so thrilled, like, that we could set this up. So I'm Tim. You are so pretty. Oh my God, you could be a model.
Thank you.
So I hear you're a fan of the show. You watch it every week?
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
I just like watching us, like how people react to each other and everything.
Yeah? Who's your favorite on the show?
You.
Are you just saying that?
No.
Yeah, is the truth? Well, I can't thank you enough. That means a lot to me. You're so pretty. Gosh, she is beautiful. You're so pretty. So tell me about you. What's going on with your life? Relax. Relax.
Take a breath.
Look at me. Look at me. Tell me about school. I've done everything right as far as a public figure, and yet there's still a lot of hate out there for me just because I didn't have sex with a girl. And to me, that's crazy. There's been so many guys on that show that were really pieces of shit that didn't get half the hate and criticism that I got, all because I paint my nails or fucking sit with my legs crossed. It's fucking ridiculous. But I mean, that sounds like I'm bitter about it, but I didn't realize how many negative people there were in this world until I did that show. And that show has taught me a lot about society and how miserable a lot of fucking people are. And no matter what the fuck they're given, I mean, you could be Mary fucking Poppins and do that show,
And they're gonna pick you up.
and still somebody's gonna find something. Like, these are people you would give a gold bar to and they would complain it's too heavy. You know what I mean? Like, you can't say everything right, do everything right for them, and you just have to know that going into a TV show, especially if it's 90 Day related, because that's like one of the toughest crowds out there.
Well, we'll skip this other stupid question since you just covered it. Are you planning on filming another season of 90 Day Fiance, even if it's with someone else?
Well, here's the thing. If I was, I wouldn't be able to say it because, you know, obviously we're under NDA, non-disclosure agreements. I always say this. I think it was Veronica that taught me this expression, never say never. You know, I don't know if it was presented to me, if I would say yes or no. It depends on the girl, too. If she was comfortable with that. You know, when you're signing up to do a TV show, your life has changed forever after that first episode airs. You give up your privacy. You have to be very careful what you say. You're under the public microscope all the time. And it's a very big adjustment for some people. So, you know, I would want to be a mentor and a coach and make sure to explain that in depth to someone before they agreed to it, because nobody explained it to me.
All right. What's your favorite place in North Carolina to visit?
My bed. Yeah, no, I'm not an adventurous person. Like, I work a lot. That's right now is where I'm focused. You know, I want to have a big successful company, and I'm getting there. You know, I have a successful company, but I'm about to hit 40, which is a milestone. You know, and I remember my dad always telling me he wanted to be a millionaire by the time he was 40, and he didn't get it when he was 40. But you know, he kept working, and he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish by the time he retired. And I'm not where I wanted to be at 40, so that's what I'm focused on right now.
All right. Let me see. What's one thing you want to do this year?
I want to hit 25,000 YouTube subscribers by the end of this year. Like, the YouTube channel is important to me, and it sounds like a sales pitch, but I've said this often. The reason I'm so passionate
Don't forget to subscribe.
about my YouTube channel is because I get to do it with my best friend. It gives me a reason to hang out with him more. It's something I've always wanted to be in business with my best friend, and the YouTube channel is very personal to me because he is involved with it. And it's weird that I'm saying it like you're not sitting in the room, but you know, that's why I'm so passionate about it. Is I just, you know, me and you have been together for so long as best friends, and just, you know, us making a business together is exciting to me.
All right, this isn't a question. I know you think you aren't a catch, but you most definitely are. I think you're sweet and handsome.
Well, I never said I wasn't a catch. I'm not an egotistical maniac. Like, I always tell people this about me. I do my best to be as physically attractive as I can be. Now, given I could get in the gym more, you know, I'm not saying there's not areas of improvement, but, you know, I'm a little funny. I'm a little handsome. I've got a little bit of money. You know, I've got a little bit of everything. I'm a little bit smart. I'm not a genius. I'm not rich. I'm not, you know, Brad Pitt, super good looking. But I bring a lot to the table. But what I am is I'm loyal. I'm respectful. You know, true to my word. I have a lot of good qualities that I think a lot of women would appreciate. I have a big heart. I'm a Cancer. And if you're into astrological signs, if you read about Cancers, they're very good. We're moody, but we're very good people. And I would give somebody the shirt off my back. I have a lot to offer for humanity. And that's important to me, is being kind to people. I mean, that doesn't mean that I won't cut jokes and, you know, just like anybody else, like laugh at, you know, shit and inappropriate stuff. I mean, but at the end of the day, I'm a good person, and I know that, and I'm comfortable with that. So I know that I make a good partner for somebody.
Do you think you will look for a lady in America now?
Yeah, I don't know why people are so obsessed with it. First of all, I'm not obsessed with Colombians. It just happens to be that the last few girls I dated were from that country. You know, I've dated girls from all over the world, and I've dated Americans. In fact, my longest relationship ever was with an American, a country, North Carolinian American girl. You know, you gotta understand, when I started doing the international dating was right after I got out of the relationship that I was talking about earlier, where I was very depressed, and leaving the country was almost like an escape for me. So the very first year that relationship ended, I was out of the country 12 or 13 times that year, going to, you know, Central and South America, meeting different girls, and, you know, just living my life. It was the first time I had been single since I was an adult. I mean, when I was 18, I was in a long-term relationship for almost 10 years. And it was a month later when that ended, I met Veronica, and we were together for, you know, 8 years. So I had spent the majority of my adult life being in committed relationships, and finally I was single. I had money to travel, and I wanted to just go and have some me time, and that's what I did. And it just so happened I was dating internationally, so this TV show popped up about people who are dating internationally, and I did that. And then people think, oh my God, like he won't date a girl in America. Obviously, I'd love to find a girl in America because traveling, I hate flying. You know, it's expensive to date someone in another country, so there's a million reasons why I would love for it to be here, not to mention just the distance is very difficult. I mean, you only get to see each other a couple times a year if you're lucky, and then if something like Corona is going on, you're not seeing them at all. So I've never said that I don't want to date an American or a girl in America. I don't know where that came from.
This next person has 3 different questions, but we're only going to do a few of them. If you could move anywhere, where would it be?
Miami, Florida. I love Miami. If I had more money, I would like to live there. Miami's a city that if you have money, a lot of money, because having money in North Carolina is very different than having money in Miami. You know what I mean? Like for $500,000, you can buy a really nice house in North Carolina. In Miami, that's a trailer. Yeah, you know, so in the United States, definitely Miami. I've often thought I'd like to live in Mexico or in Colombia for 6 months to 12 months just to master Spanish. And just live in a Spanish-speaking country just to learn the language fluently and then come back. To be honest with you, I love my country. I love the United States, and I just really don't see me ever leaving it for more than half a year or a year.
Same person. Would you ever date someone who's seen the show / a big girl?
So this is a big girl that's seen the show?